Sumner, Lodge number 5. John T. Hilton, Lodge number 6. Eureka, Lodge number 8. Mount Moriah, Lodge number 9. St. John, Lodge number 10. Castle William, Lodge number 11. William G. Butler, Lodge number 12. John J. Smith, Lodge number 14. Mount Zion, Lodge number 15. Paul Lawrence Dunbar, Lodge number 19. Widow Son, Lodge number 28. Richard Allen, Lodge number 30. King Davis Crispus Attucks 724. That completes the roll call.
Thank you. And now I would like to introduce the most worshipful Grand Past Master, Frederick Summers, to introduce the guest speaker.
Thank you. 1 month previous ago on this date, August 7th, I was asked by the Most Worshipful Grand Master to represent him up in New Hampshire to a place that I'd never heard of before, Andover, New Hampshire. So on that date, at 6 o'clock in the morning, my wife and I and a dear friend of ours started out for the trip, 2.5 hours, because the program began at 9:30 that morning. And I had the privilege of meeting our guest speaker. At the time, I did not know that, number one, he was Dr. John Hodgson, a longtime professor of English, teaching at Yale, the University of Georgia, and at Harvard. And then he served as the Dean of Forbes College at Princeton University. He's the author of several books, Sherlock Holmes, and most recently, the reason why I went to Potter's Place in Andover, New Hampshire, he had written and brought back to life the memory of Richard Potter. Richard Potter is very dear to us as Prince Hall Masons. I am very, very deeply moved to the fact that Dr. Hodgson has written a very detailed and comprehensive history with regards to Richard Potter. For you see, Richard Potter was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence that eventually made Prince Hall Freemasonry. To this we are deeply honored to him for. I recommend that each of you purchase a copy of the book and read it. I think that you will find, as I and also the, what's his name? Henry Louis Gates Jr., the professor that we all know from his Finding Your Roots television program. He has endorsed the book also. It is a very comprehensive history and well done research. I would recommend it to all of you. Please Purchase a copy of it if you can and read it. You will find it very interesting. And now, if I may, to introduce to you Dr. John Hodgson, our guest speaker.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brother Summers. I can't imagine a better place or occasion to talk about and celebrate Richard Potter than Americanism Day in the Princeton Lodge of Boston. It was a concept that was very important to Richard Potter in his lifetime. He stood up for it, he practiced it, and as Brother Summers has just indicated, he was quite prominent in the work of the African Lodge of Boston to declare its independence and create itself as a Grand Lodge in 1827. He is part of your history. You were part of his. Outside of this room, there are not a whole lot of people out there who've ever heard of Richard Potter. 200 years ago, this is a flat statement of truth, Richard Potter was the most famous entertainer in America, period. He was a ventriloquist, he was a magician, he did one-man show, dramas, he did some song and dance, a little of everything, a nice mixture, highly skilled at all of these activities. And he was a black man. His mother had been captured on the coast of Guinea as a teenager and brought to this country on a slave ship and sold as a slave in the port of Boston. And so he grew up from humble beginnings, but he became a man famous not only for his skill, but for his personality, for his gentlemanliness, his decorum, his propriety. The whole presentation of Richard Potter was this amazing testimony to the nobility of a black man, actually. I've made a strong case that Richard Potter, before the time, was the significant precursor of Frederick Douglass in representing Black America as part of the American fabric, and a noble part at that. There's no time at all to go into details of his life today. I'm going to take you in a whirlwind rush through just a few highlights, but I will pick out a few that connect with Masonry, and I'll talk a little about those connections more specifically in a little bit. Potter was born in Hopkinton, Massachusetts, on an old baronial estate, actually. The master was dead and gone. It was sort of in flux at that time. He became a manservant in a family in Boston, traveled to Europe, and eventually started making connections with performers. First, apparently, an Italian tightrope master. Then back in America with a pair of Scottish brothers who were performers. First John and then James Ranney. These were the first two ventriloquists in America. They were also magicians. Some also did some drama. And Richard Potter picked up the basics of his techniques from these acquaintances. I will just note here, too, for this occasion, that it was often very helpful for an itinerant performer, an actor typically, but it could be for somebody like Potter, to be a member of the Freemasons, because it was basically a badge of your good citizenship, your financial stability, and your charitable inclinations. It opened doors in other places. It set to rest concerns that might arise from itinerants, who typically have a bad reputation. Carnies, think of that. You get the same idea. At one point in 1804, I guess it was, this is actually from 1802, when John Ranney was performing in Lancaster, somebody had questioned his good faith. and even if he was who he claimed to be. And he published, some people have said, that's not my name. I can prove to the contrary by having certificates and diplomas from the Grand Lodge of Scotland. Yeah, he was from Elgin, Scotland. And his brother probably was a Mason, but John almost certainly was a Mason. A lot of Potter's friends in the theatrical world also were Masons. So even before he came back to the Boston area in 1809, and really 1889 launched on his career, he was having connections with Masonry. He became a member of the African Lodge in 1809, rose quickly through almost immediately actually, through the first 3 orders. And as I said, was part of that group. And I promised Brother Summers I would actually read this. That group that made those amazing moves towards independence in 1827. Unlike the Declaration of Independence, which was first drawn up and then printed and published everywhere, the African Lodge actually published its declaration first in late June 1827, just, a few days before Independence Day, before the 4th of July. And it was on the first page of the Boston Daily Advertiser, and this is part of that statement. Taking all these things into consideration, we've concluded that with what knowledge we possess of Masonry, and as people of color by ourselves, we are and ought by rights to be free and independent of other lodges. We do therefore with this belief publicly declare ourselves free and independent of any lodge from this day, and that we will not be tributary to or governed by any lodge other than that of our own. We agree solemnly to abide by all proper rules and regulations which govern the like fraternities, discountenancing all imposition to injure the order, and to use all fair and honorable means to promote its prosperity, resting in full hope that this will enable us to transmit it to our, and its purity to our posterity for their enjoyment. As you will detect, they are quoting and alluding to the Declaration of Independence. This was an unmistakable statement and message. Really remarkable one in American history. Richard Potter was, I said he was the most famous entertainer in America. I want to be more specific. He was the most widely known, the most beloved, and this is important, the most widely attended or beheld. All over the country, people had seen and heard Richard Potter perform because he went everywhere. Now remember, this is the 1820s we're talking about. Just to give you a quick sample, and I know we'll have to end soon. In 1829, he set off on a grand tour around the country, having already established himself as the primary entertainer in New England at that time and the mid-Atlantic states. He went down from Andover, New Hampshire, his home area, down to New York and Philadelphia, and then back up again, up through New England to Lower Canada, we would call it Quebec now, and then Upper Canada, we would call it Ontario, and then back into the States, down through New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, down the Mississippi River. This is 1822 we're talking about. Richard Potter was performing in Louisiana and Mississippi and Missouri and Arkansas in 1822. Over in Pensacola in 1823. The man had nerve and boy, he had chops. He, over the course of his career, not only performed in Canada and the Caribbean and some in Europe, but in every state in the Union as it then existed, and I believe every territory as it then existed, except for Michigan. In other words, he went to Arkansas. He went to Missouri when it was still a territory, just before statehood. He was in Florida. And he was in every other state in there in the middle, in between. All across America, everybody had seen Richard Potter. He was also very unusual, very unlike the other major entertainers of his time, in that when he became extremely well-known and highly popular, so that he could sell out large venues in New York City for months at a time, we're talking 400, 500, 600 seats, five shows a week, 8 weeks of that. Richard Potter could do that. But despite that, he always stopped at the little towns in between. He entertained at the taverns, at the longhouses, at the Masonic halls, entertained in several Masonic halls. And so you didn't have to be from or near a big city to see Richard Potter, because, you know, he'd come along and maybe come close to you in Ohio or Indiana or Kentucky or North Carolina. Everybody all across the country, if you didn't know Richard Potter firsthand, you probably knew somebody who did, who had seen him. He was that widely known. This is at a time before railroads. Steamboats had just been going into service and were worth squat by the time he was on the Mississippi River. There were no telegraphs. Most towns maybe had a newspaper that published once a week. It was an amazing, amazing accomplishment. If there is time, and I don't know if there is, I would be happy to take questions about Richard Potter. I would also be happy to talk about him after the program if you have questions or thoughts. I'm going to close by saying that we have one more celebration of Potter this year on September 30th up in Andover, an indoor venue in the Norris Family Theater at Proctor Academy. It seats about 400 and some people. And at this event, I've often performed together with a really good 19th century reenactor magician to illustrate Potter as the sleight of hand man who fools your sight. Richard Potter also was a sleight of voice man. He fooled your ears. And this time we're going to talk about how Richard Potter's ability to fool your ears led him into becoming a yet unappreciated, one of the major influences in American theater, even though he was never himself the member of a dramatic company. But he influenced actors all over this country in remarkable ways. So we have a very fine ventriloquist coming to perform, and then I will be talking about new discoveries in Richard Potter's contribution to American performance art on that occasion. We would welcome members, families, friends of the Prince Hall Grand Lodge to attend. I've left a few little handouts out that give you more information and where you can just follow a QR code to a free ticket. You need a reservation, but everything is free. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to talk to you today.
Okay. And now I'd like to bring to the podium Right Worshipful Ronald Stokes with the Prince Hall Charge.
Good afternoon. First, let us each, in our own way and in our own voice, let us give praise, honor, and glory to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But let us thank God that He is our God. Over 200 years ago, in the year 1792 in Charlestown, Massachusetts, our first most worshipful Grand Master, Prince Hall, in the accompaniment of the 14 other original members, he gave them a charge when he said to them, "Dearly and well-beloved brethren of the African Lodge, as through the goodness and mercy of God, we are once more met together. I shall at this time endeavor to show the duties of a Mason. The first thing is that you believe in one supreme being, that he is the great architect of this visible world, and that he governs all things here below. Be good subjects to the laws of the land in which you dwell. Give honor to all to whom honor is due. The next thing is love and benevolence to all the families of mankind as God's mate and creation. Let them be of what color or nation they may, yea, even our very enemies. Much more a brother Mason. Lend a helping hand to a brother in distress and relieve him. Learn the great histories of our forefathers and imitate them. You, my brethren, are now members of a noble order, and my charge to you is that you make it your study to live up to the precepts of it, as you know they are all good. Keep in mind the obligations you are under, both to God and your fellow man. If thus we, by the grace of God, live up to this our profession, we may cheerfully go the rounds of the compasses of this life, having lived according to the plumb line of righteousness, the square of justice, and the level of truth and sincerity. And when we have come to the end of time, we may then bid farewell to that delightful sun and moon and other planets that move so beautifully around her in their orbits, and ascend to that new Jerusalem where we shall not want these tapers, for God is the light thereof, where the wicked cease from troubling, and where the weary are at rest. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Stokes. And now I'd like to have Worshipful Master Sonny Franklin come make a presentation to the Worshipful Grand Master. Most Worshipful Grand Master.
Meet again, huh? Meet again. Name is Sonny Franklin. Worshipful Master, Norumbega Fraternity Lodge, AFN A&M, out in Newtonville, Mass. Certainly is an honor to be joining in here with my Prince Hall brothers and sisters. About a year ago or so, I was installed. This guy's conned me into becoming Worshipful Master of the Lodge. I told them I wanted to remain senior deacon, but they weren't buying it. And so I had the honor of having a friend, advisor, name it, big brother, guide me through when I had doubts and questions. And so, along with several of my other Prince Hall brothers, they were able to attend the installation, and need I say, turned out to be something that, should I say, Massachusetts had never seen before. But it was an honor having my brothers and sisters there from not only Massachusetts, but several past Grand Masters and sitting Grand Master, along with the Grand Master also of Rhode Island, and his team, and his sisters. And so, myself, sitting in the East with the Grand Master, a topic came up of cricket. Folks might wonder what cricket is. No, not the insect, but a cousin to baseball. As a matter of fact, the sport was played here right before baseball, right in our own yards of the United States of America. Most folks don't know, but we see baseball, and that's our heart and soul. However, the Grandmaster asked me, well, I'm not going to say he asked. The Grandmaster say something, you make it become a reality. If we can make this an LOI topic. I'm sitting there, like, okay. And so I, along with my brothers there, Douglas Wagner, another right-hand man of mine, soon to be Worshipful Master. Of course, I'm stepping down 24 hours. Come on up, Brother Doug.
All three of you, come up. Come up.
Another incoming master.
All three of you, come up. Come up. Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. You're at home. You're at home. Told you wherever I go, y'all go. I'm safe. Brother Douglas Wagner here, soon to be master of Dalhousie Lodge. Great friend of mine also. Incoming master here, David Caffarello. Going to be master of Moses Michael Hayes Lodge. I think y'all have more DDs than everyone else, something to that nature. But he also conned me into becoming senior deacon for his lodge. I have to let the wife know that's my daughter. That's the wife, the advisor, everything in one. At 15-year-old, gave me a tour and said, all right, your time's up. Now it's my 2 years before college, so masonry will be a little bit on the back burner for now, for about a year or two. And then my neighbor, advisor, friend, brother, had my daughter also join Rainbow, Bob Jingosian, past master, past commander of our commandery. Along with these guys, there was a few other masters. We conjured up and created it, and we pulled it off. Needless to say, Prince Hall was well represented at this cricket event, along with the Grand Master of Massachusetts and Rhode Island. Brother Eves couldn't make it because of prior commitments, but representing him was Right Worshipful Gerald Thaxton, another great friend of mine. And so we decided right then, well, since Brother Eves is not here, we will do a presentation after the effect for him. And so we'd like to present this shirt to you. Seemed like you put on some weight, but I hope it fit. This bat here, with your name engraved in it, Most Worshipful Grand Master, the year that the event took place. And so we found it fit, the ideas from, it's also always a team with me as a Navy man. There's no I in my team. And so, along with the brothers here and a few other masters who are missed in, we decided we'll order this special from India. They actually make these professionally handcrafted through a friend of mine. And so we saw it fit to have each Grandmaster have one of their own along with a shirt, and might just be a continuum of years to come. So we present that to you, my good brother. Utmost respect and love always.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. I'll give my thank you during my remarks, okay? Thank you very much.
All right.
Let's take a group picture.
Can't let my daughter see me in glasses.
Now I would like to bring to the podium Brother David Smalls, worthy grand patron of the OES.
Brothers and sisters, good evening. It's a pleasure for me to stand here again once before you. I don't have a written speech or anything. Of course, that's not for me to do. My job is to be an introductor. So at this time, before I introduce the worthy Grand Matron, would all the brothers that joined the order yesterday please stand? Now, would all Master Masons who are members of the order please stand? Beautiful. Give yourself a hand. Thank you. Now, you may be seated. Now, in this order that preceded me at this station is past worthy Grand Patron, Brother Ike Scott. I believe he's at the door. Past worthy Grand Patron, Leslie Pierre Charles. And my right-hand man, Joseph Catan. He's the Grand Associate Patron. And now it gives me my pleasing duty and honor, it's a pleasure to introduce to you all the worthy Grand Matron of Prince Hall Grand Chapter, jurisdiction of Massachusetts Incorporated, Lynette Tyler Sumter. Please rise. Be seated. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It gives me great pleasure to stand here before you to speak for our team, Prince Hall Grand Chapter, Order of the Eastern Star, jurisdiction of Massachusetts. It gives me great honor to be here, Most Worshipful Grand Master, Honorable Yves R. Magnon, and his cabinet for inviting me and my team of Eastern Stars. I want to say thank you to Dr. Hodgson for your great information. I am Lynette Tyler Sumter, the 39th worthy Grand Matron of Prince Hall Grand Chapter, Order of the Eastern Star, jurisdiction of Massachusetts Incorporated. I have with me my Grand Associate Matron, Heavenly R. Mitchell. I also have with me my Grand Associate Conductress, Belinda Barnes. My Grand Secretary, Pauline Barnes Wilson. I would like to have all my sisters of the Order of the Eastern Star stand, please. Please welcome them. Yesterday we had degree work, so there were a lot of great happiness here that was done yesterday. It took a long time, so I think a lot of them must be still asleep. But we are here. Thank you. Thank you, the Most Worshipful Yves R. Magnon, for inviting us. We're glad to be here, even though we're in few. I think next year there'll be many more because a lot did come in. So, thank you. Have a blessed day. Drive safe. Thank you.
And now to make the introduction for the Most Worshipful Grand Master, Right Worshipful Brother Justin A. Petty, Grand Senior Warden.
Good afternoon.
Most Worshipful Grand Master, worthy Grand Matron, worthy Grand Patron, visiting brethren, Master Masons, and concording bodies all, and our guests. Again, good afternoon. It is my pleasure to be up here today to introduce the Most Worshipful Grand Master, but before I do that, I'm just going to do a little bit of house cleaning. I would like to recognize the concordant bodies that are present. If you can please rise and just identify yourself. Please stand, those of the concordant that are pendant bodies. If you can introduce yourself. $31. Okay, anyone else? Okay, good. Can all the appointed officers of this Most Worshipful Grand Lodge please stand? Starting from the back. Junior Grand Deacon.
Brother Harry Scales, Princeton Lodge, number 28, Internal Security. Brother Rocky East, Mount Zion Lodge, number 15, Internal Security. Christopher Moreno, Worshipful, Internal Security. Stevens, Senator Wayne, I worship William City Ketchup, District Deputy Master for the 2nd District.
No, you know you can speak louder than that.
I worship William L. White, Mr. Deputy Emeritus.
Right Worshipful Robinson Young Sr., Mount Zion Lodge number 15, District Deputy Grand Master, First Masonic District, and Jurisprudence Committee.
Right Worshipful Stephen Epps, Wilson Lodge 28, Special Assistant to the Grand Master.
David Smalls, Grand Photographer, Deputy to the Order of the Eastern Star.
Red Mitchell, would you please identify yourself? Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I got him. At this time, I'm going to introduce the past elected Grand Lodge officers. We have Right Worshipful Julian Turner, past Junior Grand Warden and Grand Photographer. We have Right Worshipful Peter D. Rodriguez, past Junior Grand Warden. We have Right Worshipful Leon DeBose, past Junior Grand Warden. We have Right Worshipful Joseph Catan, past Grand Treasurer. Did I miss anyone? And now I will introduce the elected Grand Lodge officers. Our Grant Secretary, Juby S. Drakes, he's online, watching online as we stream this program. We want to thank the brothers in Trinidad and Tobago, which is part of our jurisdiction, the brothers in Rota, Spain, the brothers in the Netherlands, and the brothers in New Hampshire and Maine for tuning in online. Our Grand Treasurer, Right Reverend Joseph H. Catan. Our Junior Grand Warden, Right Reverend Brother Colin M. Harrell. Before I introduce the Most Worshipful Grand Master, please remember that on September 24th at 6 p.m. right here in this auditorium is the Worshipful Masters Ball, where we will be recognizing the Worshipful Masters and District Deputy Grand Masters from the classes of 2020, 2021, and 2022. Please come out and support the brothers. We have not had a Worshipful Masters Ball since 2019 due to the pandemic, so this will be our first time back. Please come out, buy your tickets. You can go online at www.princehall.org, princehall.org, not com, and on the tab, the top tab, you just click on events, and the Worshipful Masters Ball tickets are available there. $30, and then there's a online processing fee, small, minute processing fee. But the tickets are $30. Events at princehall.org. Okay. It's my pleasure right now to introduce the 71st Most Worshipful Grand Master, having been re-elected in December of 2021. The Honorable Yves R. Mignon. Please rise.
Please be seated. To Right Worshipful Senior Grand Warden Justin Petty, to Worthy Grand Matron Lynette Tyler Sumter, to Worthy Grand Patron David Small, to our distinguished guest speaker that's here this evening with us, Dr. John Hodgson, to the distinguished dais, to our visiting brothers and sisters, good evening. First, before I give my 5 pages speech I have in here, I have a few things I'd like to address. Truly an honor, Worshipful Master Sonny Franklin. I'm humbled by the gesture this evening to find me worthy to make that presentation to me as Most Worshipful Grand Master. I consider you a dear friend of mine. To the visiting brother, thank you for taking your time to come here this evening with the Worshipful Master. And we're looking forward for this fraternal friendship and brotherly love to continue. At the end of the day, we're all here for the same purposes, serving our community, try our best to make the world the better place we can. And for that, I'm very grateful to have you this evening with us. To my worthy Grand Matron, thank you for your support. For those that was not here yesterday, it was truly a beautiful sight here yesterday. That's why when I came in this afternoon, I've seen a few sisters here. I didn't get in my feeling because I know yesterday they had a long day here yesterday. I'd opened the non-bloodline, and I'm happy to report to our visiting brothers and to the past grandmasters that's here, and to all brothers and sisters, with that, they brought yesterday over 64 new members, and they did all 3 degrees in one day yesterday. Thank you for that, and they deserve a clap for that. And some of us were here since like 7 months, and we didn't leave here until night time. But the other 5 hours, I asked the Grand Junior Warden how he said you go over by 6 p.m. But it was truly a great work on the display. And I'm humbled to report that starting tomorrow, some of them are the grand lecture for the OES be traveling to Trinidad. and along with the Grand Worthy Matron, the Grand Worthy Patron, along with total 19 brothers and sisters, when I be traveling to Trinidad to reopen a chapter that we had up there, Esther chapter number 22. Yeah. Esther, they're going to reopen that chapters. I know some of them are online right now watching us. We are looking forward to have a total of over 27 brothers and sisters that's going to reopen that new chapters. At the end of the day, our grand chapter will have over 100 and plus between their reinstatement and the new members, well over 120 new members that's going to come into the grand chapter of the OES, and I'm pleased for that, for the grand matron of the leadership. Thank you. To our guest speaker, Dr. John Hodgson, would you please come forward, sir? It's indeed an honor to have you this evening with us. Come forward, right, sir. Roughly about 2-3 months ago, I was getting a few emails. So we have our office administrator on that shift from Monday to Friday. For a few times, she forwarded me some emails and left some emails on my desk for me. She said, there's a gentleman that wrote a book. He needs to get in contact with you. But no offense to the doctor. I get that pretty much every day in here. And in the beginning, I'm going to be honest, in the beginning, I didn't really focus too much on it because, as you know, I have a lot on my plate. But he's a very persistent man, and he keeps sending them email. So one day I was like, let me look at those emails. So when I look at the email, and then that's when it caught my attention about Richard Porter, a well-known master. And he wrote a book on Richard Porter. Even though I haven't a chance to read the book, but he pretty much, give an overhaul what the book is about. And I was very intrigued with that. And then I communicated with him to Penavasa. Stated, unfortunately, he had an event about roughly a month ago. I couldn't attend and do all the obligation. I sent the best man in line, past Grandmaster Fred Sumner, to represent me. And he came back, he was very intrigued with the whole event they have up there. And he also stated that he have one on September 30th that's coming. I'm pleased to report, sir, that I'll be there myself and travel along with my Grand Junior Warden. And any sisters or brothers that wish to travel on September 30th is an evening event. We'll be leaving here roughly about 1 o'clock just for travel purposes. Any brother or sister that wish to travel, because this is a well-worth investment for our Grand Lodge. The Grand Lodge will cover your travel and your hotel expenses. All you have to do, let the Grand Junior know that ahead of time. As he stated, it's a small town. They don't have a hotel up there. He gave information for a bed and breakfast. So we don't know how many rooms they have available, but the Grand Junior Warden will make reservation ASAP. Again, any sisters or brothers that wish to travel, the Grand Lodge will cover the transportation and your room reservation. We might have to put 5 of you in one bedroom now, so keep that in mind. So I just want to share that. Sir, I really thank you on behalf of the Grand Lodge for the work that you are doing and for our history. As you know, Prince Hall, the man himself, is still remain a mystery to some of us. To find new information, new history from African Lodge 459, we take that very, very, very dear to our heart. And I know you brought with you this evening 10 books. Please, we're going to give the information when he's done in here. I'm strongly suggest that, let's support him, purchase those books. So I'm pleased to inform you that all those 10 books, the Grand Lodge purchased all them 10 books, sir.
Oh, well,
thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And thank you. And if you don't mind, sign them. A copy of your book will be in our library upstairs, and one going to be in the Grand Secretary's office. And then the rest, the past grandmasters and other officers will have those books. And again, brothers and sisters, please support him. And we'll get in contact with you. I'm going to order another 10 more books from you for the grand chapter of the OES along of some of the brothers. So, okay, thank you, sir. And please accept from my office and on behalf of the Grand Lodge a token of love, appreciation for taking your time to travel here this evening to give this wonderful speech, sir. Accept this token of love, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Let's take a picture together. Let's take a picture together.
This one? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Let's sign all of them. We'll take them.
Shall I just leave the other ones here?
Yes, we'll take all 10 of them. Thank you, sir. You can sign them when you have a chance. Where's the other two? You got the other two of them? Yeah. Okay. You can do them later on. It gives me great pleasure this evening to have our lodges that's oversee, some of them over in Maine, online with us. As we know, we have lodges in Trinidad, Spain, Netherlands, and we also have brothers that live outside the state of Massachusetts. Those brothers, I asked the grandchildren to send them the link, and they're online right now. And I also want to thank, very soon to be a master mason with us. He's been with us since he was a young little child. He with us, and he's our technician right now, JP, cover for his dad. This is the grandson, the sons up there. I want to thank him for his service. As you heard, the grandson introduced me earlier on as the 71st Marshal Grand Master, Prince Hall being the first. It's indeed a pleasure for me to have this evening those that paved the way for me to stand before you this evening. We have our 70 Marshal Past Grand Master Jeffrey, 72. You're right. 72. Maybe you try to tell me something. I don't know. The 72 Past Grand Master Jeffrey M. Colston. We also have the 68 Past Grand Master Frederick B. Sumner. And we also have this evening the 67 Past Grand Master Anthony I. Jakes. Okay, you should have done that. That's true, you should have done that. And I also want to thank some of the new Master Masons that's here this evening with us. And I know I talked earlier about the OES grand chapters, but I also want to be thankful and grateful for the Worshipful Masters that's doing the hard work out there. All the new Master Masons that's here this evening, please stand, please. Thank you for being here this evening, and may God continue to guide you on your journey as a Master Mason. As I said earlier about the OES, I'm also pleased to report to each and every one of you here this evening. Some of our lodges, because of the COVID, they had some candidates they couldn't bring in. So we had a backup, candidates. Some of the lodges, raised about 12, 13, 15 new Master Masons this year. And I think at the end of the day, and I also had an amnesty program for those Master Masons that had dropped for no payment of dues. I did an amnesty program with them for them. At the end of the year, we are closed to grow our membership close to 150 new members altogether. That's going to come in between the Wayne statement and new members. Thank you. As you heard Dr. John Hodgson give talk this evening about Richard Porter, a well-known African Lodge for 59 members. As I woke up this morning and I was thinking about the speech, the idea, the topic, what would I be talking about this evening? As I lay this morning, I got up early, lay on the bed, thinking about the work Richard Porter and the work Prince Hall, the man himself, had vested in the early 1700s. And as you heard the doctor said, Richard Porter were the 1800s. We're in 2022, and the struggle is still on. So you can imagine in the 1700s, as a black man in this nation, in this country, at that time was in America, traveled to the back road from here to Philadelphia to right next door, Rhode Island. The time, the risks, and the risks they're vested for us to stand on their shoulder to be here this evening. The topic that came to mind is believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. That was the only topic I could have come up to my mind to stand before you this evening. No matter what the obstacle, no matter how far you stand and you can't see the end of the road, when you have faith and you believe in yourself, then at the end of the day, I think everything will be okay. Our belief controls the end result. It doesn't matter what anyone says you can or cannot do. It doesn't matter what opinions others have about you, your ideas, your dream. If you believe in yourself, then anything is possible. Worshipful Prince Hall did just that. He was on a mission. Worshipful Prince Hall was interested in the Masonic fraternity because Freemasonry was founded upon the ideals of liberty, equality, and peace. He founded Prince Hall Freemasonry and lobbied for the basic human rights in a very dark moment in the history of this country. The right to equality, freedom from discrimination, right to life, liberty, personal security, freedom from slavery, freedom from torture and degrading treatment, the right to recognize before the law, the right to equality before the law, the right to education, the right to the adequate living standard. That's what it stands for. Believe in yourself. Worshipful Prince Hall did just that. He was one of the most influential free black leaders in the late 1700s. What does it mean to believe in yourself? Believe in yourself means having confidence in your own abilities. It means being able to trust yourself to do what you say you will do. Having faith in your own capabilities. It means believe that you can do something to change your life and life in others to make your community a better place. 245 65+ years later, Prince Hall's legacy as a Freemason, a founding father, a leader, and first black Grand Master has survived. There are now over 4,500 large, there are now over 4,500 lodges worldwide, forming over 47 sovereign jurisdictions with a membership of over 300,000 Masons who can trace their origins to African Lodge 459, Boston, Massachusetts. Just because Most Worshipful Prince Hall, the man, believes in himself. In order to success, you must believe in yourself. May God continue to bless you. May he continue to shine his light upon us. And may God continue to strengthen our venerable institution. God bless you. Thank you. I got it. Thank you. Thank you. Before I take my seat, I know I introduced some past Grand Masters that paved the way for me to stand before you. But I will be remiss if I take my seat and don't recognize those two icons. We are very fortunate to have them still with us, sharing their knowledge, their wisdom. You heard both of them earlier. One of them introduced himself as the youngest Master Mason we have here. God bless him, Right Worshipful Red T. Mitchell. If you don't mind, sir, how old are you again, being the youngest in here? Thank you. And let me let you know, he's here every day. Sometimes when I come here, I'll be hiding from him myself sometimes. He's full of knowledge, and he's eager to share the knowledge with you. When he corner you in an area, he got you on lockdown. And he got multiple topics to address you in 30 seconds. And we're very grateful, sir, to still have you in here at Worshipful. And we also have he called him the baby in the bunch, because we have three of them. I don't know, where's Ike? Can Ike come forward, please? He left? Okay, he probably left. The oldest one, I believe he's probably a year older than Red Mitchell, I believe. He's 96, 97. Some of you met him early on. He was sitting in the front. Right Worshipful, Ike. He's there? Okay. I'll have him come forward. He's one of the youngest Master Mason we have in here. If you don't mind, sir, how old are you, sir? 95. Thank you, sir. We just want to acknowledge you as one of the pillars in here, sir. I started something. I don't know what I started now. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And we have among us the baby in the bunch. I think he's 91. He's our grand historian. and all of them pretty much here every day in the library working. Right Worshipful, Ray Coleman. Oh, wow. I have another young man right here too, so he's sitting right down the side. Yeah. And they're still active. Ed Murray. His birthday was last week. How old are you, sir? If you don't mind me asking, how old are you? No, how old are you? Oh, shit. 88. So he's one of the baby in the bunch. And I'm pleased to most of us know that, they're fully active. They come to the large meeting. They're here more often than some of our young Master Masons. They truly have masonry in their heart. And I thank each and one of you for your service. I want to thank the committee for a job well done. White Worshipful Epps, Stephen Epps. Even though he makes his own program, he got his own program confusing him. I want to thank you, sir, for a job well done. And sometimes the outcome, like my good friend and advisor say to me all the time, Leon Dubois say all the time, sometimes the outcome looks so easy, but they don't know the hard work behind closed doors to put just this together. And I thank you for that, sir, for the job you're doing, sir. And then last but not least, I have to go home tonight. If I don't do it, I might be end up staying here for real. My lady, Lisa Thomas, for her support. Again, thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Grant. And now we are going to sing Lift Every Voice. I want to hear it very loud coming from this section over here. All right, so you start it off. Lift every voice and sing till the bell rings. Ring with the liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let us resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that presence has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is done. Very good. I heard you guys loud and clear. Loud and clear. And now I'd like to have. Okay. And now I'd like to have past Grand Master Anthony Jakes to give us the blessing of the collation.
Before we do the blessing, let them know we have a small.
Okay. We, as you can see, or as you can smell, okay, we got some a small collation over there, and everybody's willing to partake in that in what's going on over there. And also the food, as my handle is behind me here. Also the food is being catered by Wilma Dove. Is she there? Wilma. All right. All right, past Grand Master Anthony Jakes.
Yeah. I'll be 45 next month, so let us bow our heads. Let us walk in the light, our beautiful light. Come while the dewdrops of mercy shine bright. Shine all around us by day and by night. Jesus is the light of the world. Dear Father God, be us a light in the times of darkness. Strengthen us when we are weak. Give us wisdom to our confusion, healing us in times of illness. Encourage us to the weak throughout life problems and difficulties. Give us joy and when we are sad, bread to feed us, and hunger, and eternal life to defeat the power of death, Lord. Bless us continuously, Lord. Guide us, Lord, as we partake and leave this program this evening, as we're not going to leave from you, Lord, but travel in mercy for those who are traveling far and near, and give us the grace or peace of Jesus Christ, we say. All God's children say, amen. Oh, and dear Lord, bless the food that are about to partake in for our nourishment, our bodies, and how we received it. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. And bless Wilma for the food, which is, we can smell it over here. That's good, Lord. In Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Okay, one last thing for those recently raised brothers. You know who I'm talking about. You can head on over to help serve the food. All right? You all stood up earlier. Get on over there and serve the food. Thank you, everybody, for participating in this American Day program. All right.
You don't have any available right now. You got to get information. He'll tell you. What I'll do is I'll order 10 more books from you after that, okay? I'm on 10 more. Okay. And if you don't mind signing 10 order you guys send for me.
So,
you got 2 in the front. There's 2 more up there, I believe.